What's up, guys? Welcome back, man, to the latest episode of the Sim Standard Podcast. Myself, SimFBallCritic, and Smitty, your normal host. We may or may not have AzureEffect. We always leave that door open for him. You guys know his schedule has been a little wonky, so he may or may not be on. But hey, regardless, we're here to give you a great show, and we think this will be a good one, man. We're going to have some pretty interesting topics. Let me just make sure that everything is live. It looks like it is. So just making sure everything is rolling. And yeah, we'll get it going, man. And special announcement, guys. I actually just got word. Rex Dixon may be calling in tonight. He may be giving us a call. He actually has given us a topic to talk about tonight. It's funny, I was just talking to Smitty, and I was saying, hey, telling him what the deal was, and now I see Rex has messaged me. He said that he may actually be giving us a call, so that'd be great. So what we'll do, guys, let me give you guys the spiel. What we're going to do, of course, me and Smitty will keep it very, very brief. Well, actually, I'll go into it, and then I guess Smitty can chime in. As far as football and stuff like that, y'all know we like to talk about our teams. You know, the Lions were on a bye. They face the Steelers tonight, so I'll be very, very brief with that, and then if Smitty wanted to chime in. But what we'll do is we'll hit the CFM topic first. We'll see if Rex is on. If he is, whenever he's wanting to come on, we'll get him on. But what we also want to cover tonight, man, is this show is really going to feature a lot of Smitty and Relli. I don't know how many of you guys follow us on social media, but, of course, the Madden's first major, their tournament was this past weekend. And, that's always the time when everyone has thoughts and comments on how the game is being presented. The talk of the two gameplay styles. Of course, I said two. Nobody's talking about arcade. But, the two gameplay styles and what should be in, what shouldn't be in. So, there was a bit of a debate that took place with, Smitty and Relli and Zan and a few other people I'm sure chimed in. So they'll actually have that discussion tonight. And we want to keep it to dialogue. I mean, everybody respects everybody, but we want to keep it to real dialogue. So what I'm going to actually do is play the role of the moderator, if you will, chime in from now, from here and there. But I definitely want to give Smitty and Relli their opportunity to speak, because I missed most of the conversation. I mean, I know I spoke to Smitty offline, but I missed a lot of, what was happening on Twitter. Smitty kind of had to catch me up. So we'll see how that goes. But first and foremost, man, throw it to Smitty. Actually, I will go to Smitty first, man. Check on you, see how was your week. And also, any thoughts you have on the upcoming matchup with the Lions and the Steelers.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's like I say, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, I don't know how interesting though, because see you excuse me, see Sim coming off of a real good game. You know what I mean? So it's like you can have you kind of have like an expectation because of what happened the previous week. We really don't have anything as far as like what really to expect. I just hope to have and I haven't checked all the reports and all that stuff, so I have to look. Usually I wait till the weekend to really look into it, but I just hope that we have a healthy core of our team back, or guys are healthier that they can go. That's a facet of itself that needs to be in Madden, real talk, while we saying that. But that's something for possibly another topic, but depending upon how things go tonight. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we got our offensive line back at full strength or majority strength and healthy enough to be effective. That's what I'm really going to be looking for. I mean, like I said, it all starts from the trenches and then out from there. Our receiving core being healthy out there. Galladay hasn't been out there for a minute, so it's like hopefully he can get back into the fold. Like I said, I don't know what the statuses are of our key guys, so I really don't know what the situation is. But yeah, I'm looking to see what these guys do defensively. I mean, look, our defense is only going to be able to do but so much for us no matter what. But our offense, I'm looking for our offense really to turn it up. Le'Veon Bell is, I believe he's going to be a problem no matter what. I mean, you know, if we do a decent job against him, that'll be helpful. But you still got Antonio Brown back there, and even though Bryant is disgruntled at this moment in time, I'm pretty sure if he's still out there on the field, I mean, come on, you can't deny that size. So he still is going to cause a problem. So
not this week.
Oh, not this weekend? Oh, okay.
No, Coach Tomlin set him down.
Oh, he set him down. Oh, okay. All right. So, well, Antonio Brown is still a major problem. And at the same time, like I said, it's not like, look, Big Ben is a grizzled veteran in the game and all that, but he's not a sap either. You know what I mean? He ain't no sap of a quarterback. So, dude, you know, will still mess around and get off out there. Excuse me. So, I'm just looking for the Detroit defense to be sharp. But, but I really hope our offense can step up and really make an impact, really in the running game, because that's the key thing that we're really lacking. We pass the ball a lot. We're very pass predictable, but we need to start throwing some, you know what I mean? We need to start, you know, running the ball and being effective with running the ball. So if it's not going to happen there, then I don't know. I think it's going to be a real big challenge. Like, I think it's going to be a real big challenge for us to possibly come away with the W. So, but I believe it'll be a good game. I believe it'll be a really good game. So I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, man, I'll bring you up to speed, man, in terms of from what I'm hearing, your offensive line, they're not fully back. Actually, former Steeler practice squad guy, Brian Mahalik, is getting a start at tackle. So, you know, that might tell you something there. I'm hearing that Golden Tate is doubtful with his shoulder.
Okay.
So that's what I was going to say, man, is when it comes down to the Lions, just looking at it, I mean, the Steelers have been relatively fortunate. I know Stephon Tuitt has been injured. I think he's going to sit this one out as well. But, man, that's what it's going to come down to for you guys is injuries. You know, it sounds like injuries are going to be an issue. You've already told me earlier in the year y'all have been battling injuries, so that's going to probably be the struggle, man. As far as the game, you know, I'll be brief. You know, I was at the Cincinnati game, had a good time there. You guys can check out Terrible Towel Tuesday. That's not a shameless plug, by the way. I'm just saying I don't want to spend all of the time here taken away from tonight's show. But y'all can check that out, man, on the channel to hear my thoughts. But Steelers did what they were supposed to do. Struggle areas is still red zone. 1 for 6 ain't going to cut it. And 2 for 11 on third down. It's not going to cut it. I don't care if the Detroit Lions are struggling or not. A game like that, listen, Matt Stafford is still out there. You know, I like Matt Stafford. Smitty knows this. I've always backed up Matt Stafford. I've always said Matt Stafford to me, Smitty, and I'm not making a comparison, guys, but follow what I'm saying. I've always viewed Matt Stafford the same way I used to view Tony Romo. Now, let me explain what I mean. I've always said, man, I think Tony Romo was a great quarterback, but Tony Romo just seemed to throw interceptions at the wrong time. I couldn't say that about Stafford. Stafford just never really had everything that he needed. You know, to me, just watching from afar, it seems like the play calling sometimes wasn't quite right, or their defense wasn't right. I never felt like Stafford was the reason why the Lions were going through what they went through. You know, I always had confidence in him. So when I say the Tony Romo and Stafford comparison, I'm talking about just saying I recognize these guys are solid quarterbacks. They may not just have the wins or the playoff victories like other teams, and I don't think it was all their fault, especially not Stafford. This guy's playing good football, man. The Steelers are going to have to be careful. This is a game that they could definitely go in and lose. It's in Detroit. Come on. Good thing about it, Steelers fans, we've separated ourselves in the division quite a bit. 5-2. You know, you're going to lose some games in the NFL. If there's a game to lose, I'm not saying I want them to, but this is a game they could drop, and it's not really going to hurt them. You know, looking at the Ravens at 3-4, and we'll see how they finish tonight. Cincinnati, we buried them. You know, the Browns is, come on. But so it's kind of like, even if they were to lose and go 5-3, they still in good position in the division. So we'll see. I think if they're on their keys, and this is not just because I'm a fan, y'all know I call it like it is. If the Steelers put everything together the way they should on offense, and if the defense shows up like they did last week, I think they could go to Detroit and win. But you can't go in there acting like you're going to win, because Detroit to me is a good team this year. I've seen them. Their record might not show it, but look at those games they were in. Close games against Atlanta. I forgot who it was y'all were playing, Smitty, and y'all got robbed, like, right at the end. I can't remember who that was, but these games, the Lions could very easily be 4-2.
No, that was Atlanta.
Oh, that was Atlanta. Okay. What was the one where the time ran out and they said Golden Tate didn't
No, that was Atlanta.
That was Atlanta?
That was Atlanta. Yep.
It was? Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it was
on the 1 yard line, and he threw that pass.
And he said his knee was down.
And they said his knee was down before he got in there. Okay, but the timing had expired and all that, or 10 seconds, that rule. So,
So there you go. Atlanta. Yeah, and hey, let's be honest. Atlanta don't look like the best team right now, but I'm just saying the Detroit Lions record is not, indicative of how they, no. Don't go looking at that. They are a much better team than that, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, the state of Michigan wrote us off for that game. Like, oh, that's a loss. You know what I mean? Like, it was like auto write-off. And I was like, I don't know, the way they playing.
I'm telling you, man.
I don't know. Like they may surprise some people. But see that once again, the defense was what kept us in the game. If we had enough offense, and I mean that was once again Ebron dropping passes all over the place, having hands of bricks. I don't know what in the world was going on with him, but Matt kept targeting him. But I mean, you're supposed to. That's your tight end. Like, you're supposed to. So he's trying to be like, get him in the game. But when you ain't doing it, Matt Stafford just got that look. He don't say the words, but he just got that look like, you effed up, right? You know what I'm saying? like, look, I can't keep throwing these passes and you just gonna be dropping them like that, man. You can't do that. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, remember who said it first. This could be a game that the Steelers lose. I told y'all I'm a real fan. I'm not one of them, oh, we're gonna win the Super. No. Y'all know I do this every week. Listen, just like I said about the Chiefs game, probably should have lost that. They balled, don't get me wrong. Defense, offensively, yeah. Last week, offensively, yeah. I'm just saying. So the Steelers are not firing on all cylinders yet. This could be a very good game. They do pretty good in prime time, so you may give them the edge there, but do not sleep on the Detroit Lions. Won't surprise me at all if they fight back after that bye and get a win. And to be honest, even as a Steelers fan, as I have the apparel on and all of that, this is a game the Lions is supposed to win if you think about it. You come off your bye, you at home, get yourself back going. They supposed to take care of business. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a good one. So, all right, man, let's jump into this next topic here. Well, the first topic. Again, let me give you guys the script. Rex has informed me that he may call in tonight. So let's say it like this. Regardless of if we're on that topic or not, whenever Rex wants to call in, we're going to let Rex come on in. I mean, he's basically going to interrupt the show, if you will, if it takes that. But what we want to do first, man, is I want to dive into a topic that Rex actually brought to me. Again, let me say that again. This is a topic that Rex brought to me earlier in the week to share with the community because they're listening. It's in regards to CFM. He basically states CFM live updates and content idea. Basically, if CFM was a live service, what content updates, progression, rewards, et cetera, what would that look like? What kind of stuff would you want to see in that space? I think that's what he's asking. Also, how would franchise users want to be rewarded when leveling up? And then another piece of that, he says, what would live content drops look like? What kind of content? So what I get from that is, again, if it's a live service and it's updating throughout the year, like MUT does, again, it's something Rex mentioned in the interview back at EA Play. Remember, he said this sets up the door for possible live type of things happening in CFM. He's asking this question. He wants to know what that would look like. I'll definitely, throw it to Smitty first. And let me also, let you guys know this. I'm assuming this is not a date or a timestamp on this. I'm playing this like it's just a question. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, that's what they're going to do for 19 or 20 or 21. I mean, I think it's a good thing that he's inquiring, but I'm going to just go ahead and stop guys in their tracks right now. This is not, at least I don't think so. Now, if Rex says it himself, that's a different story. But to me, this just sounds like he's interested in hearing what the community wants. I think if he's asking, that's a good sign. And then the next thing, guys, which probably will carry the rest of the show, Smitty and Relli will. I put debate, in the comments there, which is, I ain't necessarily saying it's a debate, but basically, quick rundown, guys. They will give their opinions and thoughts and share a conversation that they kind of had on Twitter. I think it's better to do it here live. They're basically going to share their views on the competitive play and how things should be on the tournaments. And, really the gist of it is how come, as a sim guy, should we be giving our thoughts on how their mode plays, et cetera, et cetera. And, we'll take it from there. And then also in regards to CFM, Smitty, there was another thing. Shout outs to our viewers and followers. I apologize, I don't have your name right now, but someone also wanted us to talk about the CFM lag issue. It seems like it's only happening in CFM. I've been advised that it's not happening in MUT or Draft Champions. So what's up with that? A lot of people are being, driven away from the game because of that. So I'll throw it to you first, Smitty, and then I'll go ahead and just get Relli on so, he'll be ready to go once that topic comes up. Listening to that question, and of course, maybe we can get a little more clarification on that, if Rex does join the show tonight. What does that mean to you? If there is live content updates, what type of things would you think that should be, and how should that be implemented?
Oh, like honestly, as live content, that I would have to really give that one some thought. Like I've been thinking about it. I really don't know offhand. And oh yeah, this is one little tidbit that Sim didn't mention. We're not talking about monetization either.
Oh, thank you, Smitty. I meant to put that in the comments.
This is not about monetization, because Sim let me know what he said. He said this has nothing to do with monetization. So I already see people commenting.
And that's Rex's words, by the way. Those are Rex's direct words. And he said not NOT capital letters.
Yeah.
Not talking about monetization. So thank you for reminding me that, Smitty.
This is not monetization. This is not monetization or microtransactions. So, okay. So here. So as far as that's concerned, I mean, see, my thing would be is as far as that, it depends upon what is the base of franchise going to look like when, like, if or when this will be deployed. Because think about it. Okay, so what if you already have, certain facets of owner mode in the game? You got injury system. You have your injuries playing a certain way. You have your how you train your players. You do things a certain way. Like everything has a base functionality already. So it's like, as far as what should be the rewardable facet that you get inside of a CFM. And see, like I said, this is something to really give a lot of thought on, because now maybe some people in the chat section here may have better insight, because you have people that will be on Twitter saying that, oh, they need to just monetize CFM, or they get really up in arms when they see MUT get an update but not CFM. And then that's always my question. What are they supposed to update? Like, what are they supposed to do in not Ultimate Team, excuse me. What are they supposed to do in CFM that would be comparable to what we see happen in MUT? Because we see different cards and different, you got a Super Bowl, or you got seasons and stuff like that added in. I'm like, well, okay, we already got seasons. You could play multiple seasons with 32 people in a league if you want, or if you could play solo, and you could play multiple seasons there already. So it's like, what do you want? What do you want it to be? What do you want the update to be? Okay, see, yeah, that's a great one right there, Julian. Okay, saying new traits for the players. There you go. See, that's perfect. Update the playbooks during the year. That's another one. Okay, see, that's good stuff. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't necessarily know, because when I'm talking about the mode, I'm talking about like outside of general things. You know what I mean? Like what you brought up, playbooks. That's a great one though. Playbooks, excuse me, playbooks and player traits, things like that are added into the game, things like that. I don't know exactly, like, you know, what, wouldn't that be a play now feature? It could be. I mean, that could be a play now feature, but I'm saying, see, that's my thing. What about franchise stuff? Like specifically, like, I wouldn't know about, like, I don't know.
Yeah, let's not get off the chat. And listen, I'm not trying to direct anybody, but let's not get off of the question. Let's not worry about like, play now and whatever else. Let's just talk specifically. If this type of stuff was in CFM, what would it look like? That's the question.
Yeah, like player boost, coaching boost. Okay. See, okay, that's cool. But I'm saying, like, what's something that's diverse that you wouldn't directly port over from MUT? Okay, that's what I mean. Like, what would be so different? Because when I see stuff updated in MUT, I automatically expect at some point that's going to be in CFM. I expect that. But I'm saying, like, what is it that's going to make CFM stand out? Like, not just adding traits. Because, see, this is my thing. Like, okay, how about, let's say we got the trait system, right? You have the trait system, and you put that into the game. Let's say that's in the game by default. Now, how about when the traits level out? You know what I mean? They level up or whatever. You got a guy that's a silver this, a bronze that, a gold this, an elite level, whatever, you know, whichever trait you want to go by. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, what if that's already part of the system? Then now, how would you go about saying, we're going to reward you with this over here? Or we're going to reward you with that, like based off of performance. But see, once again, that's something that's already a part of CFM. Your guy performs, he does XYZ on the field, he gets rewarded for this. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying the dynamic element of it is like something I would really have to sit down and give it some deep thought of. Like, I was trying to just think of some stuff at work, but it's hard to really contemplate, you know, like what would be something to update that would not be a universal thing, but would be more of a direct CFM like update that is not part of the base game. And like I said, I like what everybody is saying in the chat, but see, that's the whole thing. We're talking about what it will like, I mean, I know right now we're kind of shooting in the dark because we're talking about in the future what would be the base platform for CFM as far as what features it has, what details it has, and how things function in general. And then now what do we add on top of that? To say, let's reward people with this. Let's do an update for that. Now, the traits I definitely like, because that's something that, yes, when I see that happen with MUT, definitely I would love to see that. Like, let's say that CFM has a system in place where they excuse me, where they have traits and it could be leveled out and all that good stuff. Then by all means, let's have additional traits. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I don't know, but I mean, I don't know, Sim. I don't know, man. Like, I really, it's something, like I said, that's something that I would have to think of some stuff to really be like, okay, this is something that they would need to do, or this would be a great something to add to their mode that would make it seem, you know, make it feel more robust.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, man. And after I give my thoughts, and then we lead into the next topic. What I'm going to do once we go on to the next topic with yourself and Relli, I'm actually going to ask him the same question, even not really being, quote unquote CFM guy, but like he said, he played it back in the day. So I even want to hear ideas from other people, like from somebody who plays MUT and all of that, how you maybe can correlate some of those things. But I would say, man, a lot of what you guys are saying, I agree with. Really, it comes down to from what aspect is Rex asking that question? Like Smitty said, you kind of need to know where the base level is going to be in order to give a real opinion on what should be there. I think he's just looking for general ideas. So I would say definitely stuff like, and shout outs to Caleb, who's in the Sim Standard League with us. He's sending me some stuff right now. Things like he says playbooks for legendary coaches, new concept uniforms and colors, new coaching apparel, legendary draft class. I would say stuff like that too. Coaching schemes and different things like that. Like, how about Rex mentioned that they have content on actual celebrations that, signature things that they said they could probably patch in. What about things like playbook stuff? I remember when one of these games, Kansas City Chiefs was playing somebody, and they lined up Kelsey in the backfield with Hill, with Hunt, and Alex Smith. What formation was that? What about stuff like that? Like, dropping new schemes in the game, or the traits. Absolutely, the trait stuff. And to me, I'm looking at it from a different standpoint as well. I'm not looking from it solely on how your player can be enhanced or improved, but what about like developing? What do they call it? Continuous development. So I look at it from updates and player progression stuff. Update stuff, I would love to see more content come in throughout the year if they can drop that in. Like I said, maybe new playbooks we're seeing. Something crazy that you saw Bill Belichick do in the real world, and then all of a sudden now it's implemented in the CFM or in the game, or it's available for those playing CFM. You know what I mean? Like, they already are going down that road with the live stats and all that with the play live now. So I would love to see those type of tendencies being able to be dropped into the game. Maybe different behaviors. And the thing is, guys, I don't want to get too crazy with it, because it's almost like, how would this stuff play out as well? Because I saw somebody in the chat say, what about team tendencies? That's a good one. But let's take the Pittsburgh Steelers, for instance. Everybody thought there was going to be this outstanding, powerful offense. Then all of a sudden, it looks like the offense is running through Le'Veon Bell. But how could that be a live update? You know what I mean? So some of these things is kind of like, I don't know how it would play out, because I did see another guy in the chat. And again, I remember who it was when I look. Oh, London Baker said, everybody plays CFM different. Everybody's CFM is different. That's a great point as well. But just to be quick, man, I would think, and I say be quick after I've already talked about 5 minutes, but I would say traits, player behaviors, player tendencies. Wouldn't it be great if, follow me on this one, some of y'all might not agree, some might. Wouldn't it be great, right? They already got this live content with the play live now. So imagine if your real team that you're watching in the NFL, you notice that they're running a different type of defense all of a sudden, and this corner that they didn't think was going to be a great corner, now all of a sudden they notice he has a tendency to play, he's real good in cover 2, or he's susceptible to the play action and stuff like that. What if you could drop actual, like, real life tendencies into your CFM after the game, after the real season has started? Little stuff like that would be crazy. But it goes back to what Smitty said. It's hard to know. We could give suggestions, but it's all going to come down to the base level of the game. Because is any of this stuff going to work if the game is not capable of replicating different techniques, different players' footwork and back pedal and how they do the leveraging and all of that? You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we would have to know those kind of things if we want to turn it into gameplay stuff. My man Caleb is giving me more information. Scouting, that's a huge one. You know, maybe as far as rewards, maybe if you call a game a certain way, score a certain amount of points, etc., then now maybe the head coach or maybe, your offensive coordinator, hint, if that's in the game, gets more scouting points now. Stuff like that would be great. As far as player progression, I would love to see some type of, and I don't know if this is a live update, but y'all know I would love to see players being able to improve based off of performance, not just XP. Like maybe they could drop in live updates for new drills each week. Like a guy is, like say Golden Tate is battling a shoulder injury. Maybe, there's a live update that comes in that you could do a certain rehab to get him back. What a risk reward. Maybe if Smitty, takes that live update or whatever and overwork him, now you set him back a week. Little stuff like that. Like, you could tie that into the big decisions. It could get crazy, but I'm going to stop it from now because like Smitty said, it's tough to, first of all, go off the cuff. We're going to have to think about this. This is going to be an ongoing feedback session. But we really would have to find out from Rex what angle he's asking that from. You know what I mean? Like, what exactly do you want to know? Like, I know the base of the question, but, are we asking this because you guys are planning to go down a certain road? Then we know really what type of feedback to give you. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great topic, though. In maybe custom uniforms and custom cleats and things like that could be live updates. You had something real quick, Smitty?
Sim, look at the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the chat. Hold on.
Rex is in the chat.
Okay, Rex is in here.
But
yeah, let's see what Rex is saying. Rex says, if we did a daily skills drills challenge, do you think you guys would play them? I would. I definitely would. What do you guys think? Come on, chat. Rex Dixon is in here. Y'all chat it up. He's in here. The man is in here. Y'all give him your ideas. Now, again, let me let you
call in.
Oh, you say you want to call in? Yeah. Let's see. Well, yeah, Rex, all you got to do, man, is just send me an email. That's all I need. We'll get you on. Whether you want to do FaceTime or not is up to you. You can call in, voice call or FaceTime. So that's all I need from you is an email address. Well, what you got, Smitty?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, actually piggybacking off his point, see, this is going off of the old Maddens back on PS2 days. When you did skill drills, you started off from very beginning. You had rookie, pro, all Madden, getting increasingly more and more difficult. But if you just did the bronze and you just did that, you just got basically, it was rating points on your particular skill. You would just get 1. But if you wanted to get the max, it would be like 3, maybe 4 rating points going up for certain skills, or that certain skill you did the drill for, then you had to play all the way through to all Madden based off of that skill drill. So it just got more and more increasingly difficult, and you had to meet the goal each time. If you didn't, let's say you got to all Madden and you got your 4 rating points or whatever on the line and you fail that drill, you don't get anything. See what I'm saying? So let's say, and on top of that, you won't be able to sim it. So it's like you have to play. So, and like, let's say now, if you did, you could put the option in there to sim it, but if you sim, you basically get bronze and you get very minimal gains. So you'll basically be robbing yourself to play it on bronze. But if you just want to just go ahead and just cruise through, go ahead and do it. But those that really want to invest in the player's skills, then go ahead and play those drills, because that's what was in, like what Daryl is saying, Madden 05, I'm saying Madden 08, but PS2 days, that was great right there, because you had the specific drills, whatever it was, offensive, defensive, and you could do it for that player or players, but you had to go through the whole gauntlet of difficulty in order to get the max output. And you could do that stuff every week. You see what I'm saying? So And then now, if we want to make it even more challenging, that's like saying, how hard do you want to go with your guys? Like you said, Sim, risk reward. If you have a rehab kind of deal, you got drills that you could rehab. Madden 08 on 360, they had drills that you could perform that could either help or hinder your players healing to get back onto the field. So doing stuff like that, definitely do that. You know what I mean? Like, make it so that you gotta put in the work so you can go ahead and get it. You know what I mean? Or else you end up losing or get very minimal gain with attributes.
Absolutely, man. It's so many ways you can go. And
yeah.
Again, I'm sure he's listening. Rex, to call in, you know, since the last time you called in, the format has changed. We're on Google Hangouts now, as you probably could tell. Just need an email address. I shot you the invite to your EA address. You know, I don't know if you checked that away from work or not. If not, just shoot me another email, you know, in the DM on Facebook or what have you, and we'll get you on. And like I said, the way this works, as you can see us, but you can just call in as well. You know, if you don't want to do the face cam, or if you don't have the ability to be on camera, you can just call in with voice call as well. But Relli, let me throw it to you real quick, man. Like, from the outside looking in, as far as franchise, and I know you said you've played franchise in the past. What type of stuff, just from a football knowledge standpoint, you know, if CFM is supposed to be the NFL like season and career experience, what type of things do you think could work as live updates or any type of live content?
Yeah, before I do that, check your DM on Twitter for Rex's thing.
Oh, got you. All right, cool.
A lot of the things I was seeing in the chat are a lot of things that I think should be in CFM. It should be in kind of a lot of things. Playbook updates, as far as live content, that definitely, I mean, that would help everybody, really. I agree with what London said, too. So many CFMs differ from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's hard for me to really think of what helps everybody. I like what Rex said about having y'all's daily challenges and somehow it adds to your XP or whatever. That's a good idea. As far as the way CFM works now, I'm not really so sure. I know some of what y'all are dealing with, and most of the stuff I know is more bug issues than anything. And for what you said earlier, there actually is menu lag in MUT and stuff like that.
Oh, it is? Okay.
And at the play call screen.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, like, as far as just repetitive loop updates, I'm not really sure because I'm not living in that world right now. So I don't want to comment on something I don't know enough about.
Yeah, and truth be told, man, is like you said, looking at how CFM is structured now, which, you know, just being around Rex long enough, I know why he's asking. You know, he's collecting data and collecting information, obviously, which could probably help shape other things they would need to do under the hood. But like you said, the way CFM is right now, a lot of the ideas we're throwing out there might not necessarily work, only because CFM might not be capable to do that. Like the idea I said about coordinators and all that. We don't have those right now. So obviously that wouldn't work. But without further ado, guys, we do have Rex on. So first and foremost, we want to thank Rex for coming on. Again, living proof. Rex pays attention to the community, all forms of the Madden community. He brought this topic to me. So I'm glad he's able to come on tonight. Rex, you're welcome to stay on however long you want to be on. But anything that you wanted to say, or if you wanted to clarify exactly what kind of information you wanted us to give you, feel free.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. Let's just go back a couple weeks. I don't know if many of you saw the article about EA shutting down Visceral and the Star Wars game, and there was all this conversation about the death of the single-player game, and that there's a lot of fear in the industry right now that everything's going to turn into the Destiny kind of model, which is also, believe it or not, the Ultimate Team model. So it's actually not as dirty or as greedy as it seems at first glance. It's just how people are playing these games is different. They're playing fewer major big games, but they're putting a lot more time and investment into them. And interestingly enough, Madden Ultimate Team is already a live service. And what I mean by that, for those people in the audience who don't know exactly what I mean when I say live service, I mean it's a game that keeps pushing content and features out throughout the year. Madden Ultimate Team does a Halloween promotion that's going on right now. They'll do a Thanksgiving one. They'll do, a Christmas one where all new stuff that you can play comes out, new uniforms, cosmetics, all this kind of stuff. And the whole idea is that you keep getting re-engaged to play. Here's the most interesting part of this is that franchise mode is also, believe it or not, what we would call a closed service. Meaning you guys are playing it all year long. A lot of people play it all year long. You can play it on a continuous loop. It doesn't really have a definitive ending. And because of all those reasons, because you can play with 32 users connected for that amount of time, you're kind of consuming it already like it's a service-based game. So that's the real distinction. It's not something you're going to beat in 30 hours or 15 hours and then be done with it, move on to the next game. And the whole idea there is we want to re-engage people as often as possible, meaning if they're saying like, hey, franchise is my thing, that's what I want to spend 80% of my gaming time throughout the year, then that fits the model for who we would consider a core franchise user. Now, because these models have been so successful and because of what I told you guys at EA Play, that we've built a lot of technology back into franchise to make sure we would set ourselves up for this in the future. Now the question becomes about creative, which is what does franchise look like as in that kind of service model? What is a weekly content drop for franchise that people would want to get into? The biggest thing for me is progression and rewards. So one of the things that games do, Destiny's a great model. I've been playing Everybody's Golf, another game that does this really well. Where the more time you invest in the game, you should be rewarded for that time. Even if, like, imagine you go into a game of Madden and you lose the game, right? Wouldn't it be awesome if you actually just earned some, like, XP or rank for that? And so the more you play, the more you rank up. Like, let's consider it like a Madden rank, some master level, or maybe there's a franchise level. And so when you level up, the way the model works is that the game starts giving you rewards for leveling up. And, that can be anything, really. It can be, like, 2K does a lot of progression stuff where you can't actually get better as a player unless you go through these loops. Like, that will not work for franchise. We're totally not interested in anything having to really do with, ratings progression, because the way it works for you guys now, I think we all like that we're kind of control the progression of our players based on their performance. So we want to retain that. So I have to come up with something else. Now, where this comes interesting is that franchise, because of its authenticity, is kind of like, you can't go crazy. You can't just suddenly throw weird cosmetics in the game, because if the NFL would allow it on the field, we can't allow it in franchise mode. If our number one razor is authenticity, then we can't do things like OBJ's Joker cleats, because the NFL doesn't allow them to wear those on game day. And we can't kind of go wild and crazy and do custom fields and all this stuff, because that's not what the Pittsburgh field looks like. We have to stay authentic to our brand and authentic to the shield. This is a lot of doors. But really the two things I'm interested in having you guys talk about are what do I want to be rewarded with for time spent for leveling up? So if I was going to be like, hey, I'm chasing franchise master, which is like, I'm basically like a MUT master is now, like I've done everything there is to do there. And what does that loop look like? Like MUT, it's easy. They just give you content. They give you packs, right? So franchise, what would that look like? What would you want, and what's stuff that we could, use as that reward loop that you guys would be into? And then the second thing, and this is probably more complicated, which is content drops. So a live service enables the team to give you, seasonal content drops. It gives the team the ability to do weekly, daily content drops. And, this is an interesting one for me because you're basically investing in your team. And so in a real NFL authentic model, the only thing you're doing in the week leading up to your games is practice. And so there's probably something there, but is there something else you would want to do with your team? And we're making the assumption at work that you don't want to do anything that's fantasy. Like, in other words, I don't want to take the 2018 Pittsburgh Steelers and take them into some alternate universe where I get to play legendary teams or all-star teams or any of those ideas, and there are hundreds of them. I keep saying, I just don't think it fits what this group wants. They want something wrapped around the authentic, experience of their team in the universe. And so that's kind of setting the table for what I'm looking for. It's kind of like, do you have ideas around the progression reward loop? And do you have ideas about what you'd like to play in between whatever your franchise games are? And so that's kind of the drop, and I'll leave you guys to it.
Great, man. Let me ask this real quick, Rex, before you go. Is it specific? Well, I don't know if I can say specific, but would any of this actually incorporate actual gameplay on the field? Because I think that's where some people are going to have a disconnect. Where I'm thinking more off the field things, like you said, in between the time that you play your game and your rewards, for coaches, players, etc.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure so guys can give us the proper feedback. Is it anything that you're thinking of, even stuff that you can't tell us, that would be specific to on-field gameplay?
No, it could be either on-field or off-field. The only thing that the whole concept around content is that it's got to be faster than a feature. You start leaning into, we want this feature and that feature, and you should give us new features throughout the year. It's like, we get it, but that's not what we're talking about. It has to be something that's kind of like you can produce in large volumes so that you have enough of it that you're pumping, the reward loop, the progression loop feels, it's something we call compulsion. A compulsion loop is also progression loop. And for those of you guys out there who play COD or play Destiny, it's that whole concept of leveling up and getting to prestige. And the more you play, the faster you kind of move up through the ranks. And that's kind of, in my eyes, one of the big missing pieces to franchise mode is what is the compulsion loop beyond just win another Super Bowl, win another Super Bowl, win another Super Bowl. And there has to be something meatier that you're gripping onto and saying, no, I also can achieve this franchise level 100. And here's all these things I have to do to get there. And I'm interested because this loop, this I hate to call it a grind, but that's what it is compelling to me. And so that's where I'm looking to appeal to you guys to say, what would be compelling in that vein?
Wow, that's a lot. But I definitely appreciate Rex giving us this topic. Rex, you're welcome to stay on for however long you want. I'll throw it to you first, Smitty, and see if you have anything else to clarify, since Rex clarified exactly what he's looking for, and then I can give my thoughts, and then Relli, you as well. Just to let you know, Rex, I didn't know if you were sticking around or not, but you might at least want to listen to the next topic. We're going to have Relli and Smitty kind of, I think you kind of saw a piece of it over the weekend. They're going to kind of, give their thoughts on what transpired on Twitter, more or less their opinions on competitive play, what it should look like, should sim guys be commenting on it, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, go ahead, Smitty. Since he clarified, and I'm actually a little interested in the gameplay part, but what do you guys, Smitty?
I mean, that's a lot.
It's still a lot to take in, right?
It's a lot. Yeah, that's what I'm like, to really have something to be like, okay, this is what. See, it would be cool to have dynamic goals that would lead to this reward. Something that could be quick, that would already be in the game. I know that we we have the goals per player and things of that nature, but what about as, you know, like, as I am the CFM guy, okay, you know, like, if I'm controlling the team, if I'm controlling the team as an owner, or I'm controlling it as a coach or as a player, then there are certain goals that if I meet those goals progressively, then certain goals I achieve, like Rex was saying, you know, like leveling up, so to speak. As I get to this goal, I unlock this. As I get to that goal, I unlock that. You know, now what kind of reward it would be, I don't know, but it would tie into you reaching those goals, like you said, Call of Duty kind of progression ladder. It's like certain things you amass, you get to, you know, you can get to, you open certain doors up, so to speak. Like, I don't know, like, for example, like just going off of like what's in Madden right now, like let's say Ultimate Team, there are certain traits. Let's say if you get to a particular level, you can have multiple traits. You know what I mean? If you're doing a player, or if you're a coach, you can unlock the ability to coach your players to get multiple traits for certain players that are a certain rating level or something like that. So that way it's not something that it's part of the grind, but at the same time, it's like you got something that could be dropped in and say, hey, you got this reward waiting for you, but you got to get here first. And then especially when you're playing when you're playing offline, that's one thing. But when you're playing in an online league, that's what makes it more of a challenge, because it's like you want to be able to coach your players up and be able to give them that particular reward, something that other people in the league may not even have. So I could see that being something interesting right there to, you know, bring in to the fold, so to speak, or even with the scheme stuff, like the chemistries with players and things like that. But of course, it would be different from MUT. But, you know, certain chemistries that you can have that would be unlockable at certain levels. Like, let's say you got to level up your coach to this point.
Yeah.
And then you're able to do this, that, and the third. As an owner.
Just to touch on that, like one thing I'm very sensitive to is I don't want anything that creates an imbalance in franchise, such that if I'm playing in a 32-user league and one guy in my league happens to rank up to franchise level 70, but I'm only doing like a franchise level 10 because I got a wife and kids and 2 jobs. Okay. How do you still protect the balance and retain it? So I don't want, like, it probably shouldn't be something where anything gets you more power or makes your team kind of better, because that gets into very complicated territory where people get rewarded for you know, whoever spends the most time or who grinds the most, and we can't just don't want to do that to franchise mode.
Okay,
that's why this is a very complicated, hard topipic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's true.
I'll have to sit in the lab for a minute on that one, like think about it, you know what I mean, for a little bit. But yeah, but I see that's a great point. That's a great point though.
Yeah, because I would have went down that road with chemistry, but with saying it that way, that's a good point. I mean, if you couldn't build it to where how much time you can spend, because it is unfair to do it like that. Where, you know, you look at much strategy of how they do chemistry, it's not really based on time. I guess you could say people will grind longer, but it would be good to have some form of that in CFM though, where again, y'all know I always talk about the Steelers. Obviously, that's the team I know the most. You know, just this week while I'm at the game, you see a play where it's a scramble drill. Antonio Brown has such crazy chemistry with Ben. He knows exactly what, not only break off his route, he knows where to go. You know what I mean? Like, how can you get that in CFM? But Rex makes a great point. You know, can we not reward those guys who don't have time to just sit at home and grind? You know, it's that's tough. That almost kills a lot of my ideas, because it would be some kind of grind format. So this is definitely something that we would have to, you know, really mull over and try to figure out, you know,
that's a lot why a lot of games kind of lean into a lot of games lean into cosmetics. So the easiest way to protect balance of power is to lean into just visual things. Probably the trying to think. There's a lot of games that do this where they just give you a lot of different clothing to wear or stuff, so you can. It's what we call peacocking. So you can go out and say, "Hey, look, I got the best uniforms. I got the best." But again, that gets back to that's if they don't wear it in real life, we can't wear it in the game. So one of the things I'm interested in is like, is there something else you'd want to do with your team, or is there something else as a franchise user you'd want to play other than your games?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, how about, and like Rex, I'm not a big CFM guy, but in general, Sim brought up chemistries, and I know that's not what you want to do. What if they had skills trainers in between the weeks based on the type of schemes their coaches run? So say you have like a Gary Kubiak as your coach, that type of offense, and it's mostly based around zone blocking. What if there was a certain drill that they could do with their offensive line or something along that matters that would increase their chances of being successful on zone running and zone blocking schemes due to the style of play from that coach?
That's a good one. That's a good one. And
it's all about authenticity. So, I mean, it's all got to be real football schematic, correct?
Yeah.
I guess I guess the question still comes back is how do you implement it? Like, do we all have a fair chance of doing it? Or, you know what I mean? Or is it a time-based thing?
Yeah, that's the part I don't know. Because like I said, I'm not directly inside your community every day the way you are. So.
Like if there was something that EA could put out, like let's say every day, something you could play, what would you want it to be?
CFM.
In CFM.
That's just not a fit. I'm saying like technically we can do it, and now we have the ability to do it, but there's a lot of like square pegs and round holes here.
Yeah.
I think the way it's structured now, Rex, which would probably be the easiest way, only because it's how it's in the game now. I know some people are going to kill this idea because there's various opinions on XP, but I would think it would have to be something like a drill or a mini challenge, similar to solos, that could perhaps give you an XP boost for your line or the quarterback act, something like that, the coaching, because it's there now. You have that structure now. These would just be, I guess, more daily challenges, or maybe some off-field stuff like remember how when you guys used to have like the 40-yard dash and all that kind of stuff in the game, maybe little things like that, weightlifting, only because XP is already there. That's why I'm saying maybe you could build it around XP if you guys are looking to stick with XP.
What if those drills would only give them a boost for that week?
Right, there you go. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, that's not bad. That also feels like the kind of thing where we could build. There's enough content there where we could kind of shuffle it in and out. It also could be tailored, kind of made to your opponent the next week. Like we could just basically do drills based around your next opponent. I've also had a lot of ideas about building a situational playbook for the coming week. Just basically kind of like constructing your situational third and long plays, your fourth and short, that kind of stuff, based on like what your opponent likes to do.
Nice.
I also like when somebody in the chat mentioned scrimmage, I think.
Yeah, I said that too. Yeah.
I've always liked the idea of a scout team that kind of emulated and ran the same kind of AI offense as your opponent.
Yes, ghost profiles.
So you could like play a couple like games against the the scout team basically. That's something I think I might play.
How about a way to better scout your opponents, such as like you see this a lot from our side, the comp side, like a spectator type thing, but where they could look in on their opponent's games or rewatch game film or clips from the last week of big plays or something that they can use to scout their opponent.
Yeah. What would that look like?
Well, see, I don't know how much development would go into that and how you would do it as a weekly drop. I'm just more thinking about. I see a lot of players talking about scouting, in general, and this actually would be something that would help everybody, but CFM especially is at least maybe like the big plays from the week before or a certain amount of highlights from the week before that they can scout and look at to get an idea of building that game plan for their next opponent.
Yeah, man. You know what makes it tough though, Relli, is I think the scouting thing in terms of leading up to the draft would be great with like weekly stuff. But you know what makes it tough with CFM is what London said earlier. You have some people who they advance every day. Some people is every 48 hours. Some is every 72. So it's, I guess, obviously, you know, EA is not going to follow. They're not going to give you some, you know, there's no way they could tailor the updates and the content for each person CFM. So when do these content things come out? If it is daily, okay, but that's another question, is like, how do we, you know, allow each different person? Some people, I've seen leagues that they advance every Sunday. They play the real NFL.
One thing, Rex, when you said what would that look like? Clips are already automatically recorded by Xbox One and PS4 a lot of times. What about like a file catch and it just goes into the menu on the CFM page on their personal CFM?
Like highlight montages and stuff?
In a different type of format though, like maybe a different view of it, like almost like coach's tape.
Yeah.
Like say you got that's what I was trying to get at before, Sim.
Yeah.
Scouting your next opponent, not scouting the draft picks. I was talking about opponent scouting and more actual strategy into building your situational playbook or something along those lines.
Yeah. At the base of that idea, if there was a way, like during the week, like let's say every Monday or every Tuesday, the game could kind of give you a feed of like your opponent's top plays or like, you know, top plays from around the league or scouting report. And basically what that's doing is pulling clipped video files and then just basically passing them back over to you. That sounds cool.
Yeah, man. That's I would love something like that. Like now, I'm gonna be honest. Like Rex messed me up, man. I'm just thinking about that scout team thing, along with these clips. That's like I don't have no other ideas.
That'd be huge.
That would be
that will go a mighty long way.
Ridiculous. I would love something like that. I really would. And I think, you know, Rex, what I try to tell these guys a lot, you know, those who listen to us is, you know, we have conversations with you guys behind closed doors all the time. And I kind of know how a lot of the dev team thinks. Some of this stuff, guys, I'm sure Rex is collecting the data, but you got to be mindful that there are some things that might not happen, of course, until the structure of CFM either enhances with it or is enhanced first, and then they can add some of these things. So, you know, I'm trying to think of it like me and Smitty, our thought process is a little different because we kind of know that side of it, whereas I'm seeing some ideas and I'm thinking to myself, like, that ain't going to work just yet because of XYZ. But I'm liking the ideas, Rex, that you're already thinking of. So that lets me know that these are things that obviously, you know, you feel like it's something that could be done whenever you guys are ready to do that.
Yeah, I should also clarify, like, this isn't like anything in the immediate vicinity.
Right.
As you well know, we got to rebuild and kind of like get franchise back to where it needs to be and belongs first. And this would be kind of like what happens after that. But I want to bring it up because we do have the technical capability to do it now. So if maybe somebody had this breakthrough idea about, you know, a live content drop or a progression idea, it's certainly doable. Although right now our focus is obviously on your guys' top requests.
Absolutely. Great stuff, man. And like I said, while we have you here, just to transition for a moment, because I'm sure you
want to talk about the classic.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I'm sure you're interested, Rex, in a little bit of what's going to happen here.
It's about to be ugly.
Nah, man.
Oh no! Here we go, man.
With Rex and
I'm just playing Smitty. I just want to see Rex's facial reaction.
With Rex and myself here, man, I think we'll be able to, between him and I think we'll be able to moderate this properly for however long Rex will stay with us. But let's start off with Relli. Because I really missed a lot of it. I kind of saw the tail end. What was the gist of you guys back and forth, and then also, what's the point that both of you guys are trying to make in regards to whatever happened between, you, him, and Zan as far as the conversation?
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the tweets thing?
Well, that too, but also we are going to talk about the classic itself, how it played out, what should and shouldn't be in competitive play, or what should be on the tournament stage in general as far as football.
Well, as to the first thing, I just like game changers arguing publicly, especially about like sim versus it's just come on. It doesn't do us any favors when, especially the core, what's supposed to be the core of our community is infighting. I mean, you guys aren't helping me. You are not helping us out.
You're right, and that's my apologies.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I mean, everyone's passionate and they have their opinions. Just like when it gets a little bit out of hand, especially when I'm tagged, ultimately I kind of feel like I have to just step in and be like just stop, because a lot of times it's like, what are we doing?
Hey, you tag Rex?
No, I ain't tag Rex.
Thought I was tagged in that one.
No,
you just came in and said stop it.
Yeah, like I didn't tag anything. No, go ahead.
Sometimes it's like yelling at your kids for whining or crying. Like sometimes you just can't take it anymore.
Nah, I guess before we do the debate, I wanted to just say the game showed really well overall last weekend. And Rex, if you remember, I told you beforehand it was going to. If you remember that, I said it was going to show really well. But the one thing that can't happen, and it can't happen again, is people going up on stage, whining, crying, doing all that. I think that's something that we all agree on. That can't happen. But overall, especially day 2, that was just great to watch. But I guess getting into this conversation, Smitty, over the past years, you have spoke on everybody staying in their own fishbowl. That is the term that you have used repeatedly to all of us. And if I were to come out and say this CFM sucks because it's not doing this, or this CFM sucks because it's not doing this, and then get my followers behind me saying that, because regardless of how many followers or the influence you may think you have, you influence more people than you probably even realize. Because for each follower you see who responds to what you say, 3 more people see it. And then they respond, another person sees it. You press like and everybody else sees it. And here's something that you're missing. You're like, it's real football, it should happen. You've seen bunch run by the majority of players. You've seen a few other players run different formations, right? How many different, and I'm just going to ask you just a yes or no question real quick. How many different pass concepts did you see run out a bunch alone?
I mean, from what I got to watch, because like I didn't get to watch the entire tournament from start to finish. Like I didn't get to watch the recaps because I know they're on YouTube. But I mean, I saw variations, and of course, guys calling audibles and things like that, and guys playmaker and after the snap. So I mean
real football concepts, real football pass concepts. How many did you see?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, there are multiple football concepts out there, like because they're the plays in the game. So I mean, those are real football concepts.
Okay, I'm just gonna run off some for you. Okay, levels, mesh, sail, dagger, pin, verticals, stick, curl flat, Portland, China, Mills, smash, flood, divide, Omaha, Ohio, drive, spacing. I seen every one of those concepts just out a bunch. And when you say real football should be in the game, this, that, and the third, how many different pass protection schemes did you see?
What the pass protection scheme?
How many different pass protections, combination of slide pro and all this, that, and the third did you see?
Well, they're based off of all the plays in the game are based off of real world football kind of plays. So I mean that's
okay. Well, that's
a moot point.
You got BOB, which is best on best. You got man, you got power, you have when you go to running, you got zone, you got all this other different types of things. How many of those did you see? And how many times did you see that competitive player change to the real football concept that is used to counter what is going on?
Yeah, because they're all part of the game. So they're in the game. So you have to do that by default. Like you have those options available.
But it's not real football.
No, but you guys
have listed off. I just listed off.
But you guys complain when real football happens, though. So that's the thing. All I gotta say, all I gotta mention, if you're getting mad that somebody, I mean, look, this is the whole thing. You named all that off, but all I said was, dude threw an inaccurate pass. It happens in the league. It's gonna happen in the game. And then I asked you as well. Well, what was his rating? Is he rated 100 across the board with passing? If the answer is no, then he can throw an inaccurate pass. So that was all I said. But then
that's when you start digging your hole, though.
That's the problem.
That's when you started digging your grave, because for years, you have said our fishbowl, their fishbowl. Correct? Who was the main group of people asking for separate play styles?
No, I did.
Okay.
I know what I said.
At EA Play, when we got on the show with Sim, correct? How happy were you that it was going to be different between the two modes? The randomness of the game would increase on Sim, and comp would get what they want as well, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So why, when we're asking for what we want, are you telling us we shouldn't want it? But when you sit there and say what you want, we don't say nothing to y'all. I'm not going into different CFM chats telling CFM players they shouldn't play like this because they're not doing this correctly. I'm not sitting there going into the CFM's rules that say I have to run 21 personnel 60% of the game, when in the NFL the numbers are opposite of that, and telling them they're wrong. Why is that, Smitty? That's all I want to know.
That's your decision not to say anything.
But you are contradicting yourself by doing it.
Okay. I guess I got to pull up the description again that I sent you the other day.
Oh, okay. You want me to pull up the description of Sim? And I bet you it doesn't fit exactly what you want, does it? Would you like me to pull up the description of Sim?
It's your own mode description. It's your own mode description. That's the whole thing. If you're mad at me because of what the description says,
don't do the show.
Then don't get mad. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me.
All right, calm down.
Don't get mad at me because the description, because it says by description what it says that it reduces the chance of throwing an inaccurate pass. Does it say 100% accuracy? I sent you the screenshot. Does it say 100% Okay, so then does it say
discussions that were had at EA Play?
This is the answer I need. Does it say 100%?
All right, hold on, guys. I'm gonna jump in real quick. So I muted you both real quick, and I want y'all to come back. keep it just normal dialogue. Don't go at each other. Just have a discussion. All right, so y'all come on back in. Go ahead and unmute.
No, it's a simple question. Does it say 100% does it say 100% pass accuracy with a clean pocket? Yes or no? It's a simple question. Y'all came at me because I went verbatim. See, the problem is that you guys didn't ask me any questions. You just assumed you knew what you were talking about, but you didn't, because you didn't ask me any questions. You just assumed. So therefore, that's why I just went ahead and let me post this, since they clearly don't know what I'm getting at. All I'm saying is this, because of that reason. I said it happens in the NFL. It's going to happen in the game. I just went via description. That had nothing to do with taking no shots or saying, oh, well, what concepts being used and all that. It has nothing to do with any of that.
Smitty, you were in the chat as well. You were in the chat as well. I also went back as far as 3 years of you doing this show.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying now is contradictory of what you stood on. I know what you've said to other people. I know everything that you said along this show out of the 15 episodes that I've watched over 3 years that isn't real football that you said needs to be in the game. And I was going to come on the show and point all that out. But after a few days, I calmed down on that. And I'm not trying to do that. All I'm saying is, you begged for years for the separate fishbowl thing. You begged for years for it, bro. You got the separate fishbowls. The tunings are separate. Why are you
basically you got to sit down and shut up and can't say nothing. That's what you're saying, right? Because that's what you come at me with.
No, what I'm saying is, don't sit there and tell. No. Chill.
I'm chill. Okay. Like, y'all they go at me. So,
well, let me say something real quick, and then, I want to hear, if he wants to, I want to hear Rex's take as far as what should and what shouldn't be, and even, the idea of developing it that way. Here's how I look at it. Because, I listen to Relli, I listen to Smitty, I talked to them both offline. I see it from both standpoints. But even like I told Smitty, I choose to I don't say nothing. And let me explain to you why. Because it is segmented. It's segmented. So the fact that it's segmented, I just be like, well, what can I say what should or shouldn't happen in the competitive space when there's a simulation setting? And that's the position I take. Of course, how I would prefer it, I would prefer, and this is not to say that the separating them wasn't a good idea, but in general, what I think should be, the game should just replicate football to the best of its ability. And we all just, whoever is great at the game excels and they compete. And there you go. You ain't good enough. You go up there and try to play a Relli or a Skimbo or somebody and get your head taken off. But we all just playing. The game is respecting football regardless. But we all know in each community, there are people that want absolutes. Relli doesn't fall in that category. But I've met these guys in studio. I'm not going to say names because I don't do that. But there's guys who told me, no, it needs to be an interception every time. It needs to be an accurate pass every time. It needs to be, and I'm like, dude, come on. And that's where what Smitty is saying. But my only point in regards to commenting and all of that, I don't, because at this point, the game has competitive, it has simulation, and arcade for those who want to play arcade. So I really can't say what should and shouldn't be in competitive, even though the theory of what Smitty is saying is correct. From a football standpoint, look at this game that's on tonight. I've seen overthrows. I've seen this and this and that. But I did see where Zan was saying the one guy was upset about, he overthrew it. And he was saying, you should be a little sensitive to that. And I think that's what kicked the whole thing off, because Smitty was like, it happens in the NFL. I don't think Smitty meant any malice behind it. But truth be told, they have their setting for competitive. I don't play competitively as far as being on that stage and all of that. So I really can't offer my opinion, even though, like I said, I don't think what Smitty was saying had any malice intent to it. But that's just why I don't say nothing, because I would expect a competitive guy to be like, wait a minute, whoa, wait. Stay in your lane. He hit me with the Lonzo ball. Or LeVar Ball, I guess, is the one who says stay in your lane. But
no, but my one thing would be to just say is, Smitty, in that description, it says thresholds. The thresholds that we were understanding of, maybe miscommunicated with, are different from what we are seeing in the game.
Okay.
That's different from what what was said to us at EA Play. It's different from what we thought was going to be in the game.
Okay.
That's where we are with that. What me and Zan were saying is it's not fair for someone who's never been in that position where one game changes it from being a $5,000 take home for you to a $25,000 take home for you to criticize. That's not fair to them. As far as chaos flipping out and crying on camera, that was worse than anything else that could have happened that weekend. I don't disagree with that. But the reason we got on you is because you have consistently done this. And you said once we get our own play styles and our own fishbowl, and fishbowl is the term that you repeatedly use. Please, just like we don't go into Operation Sports or any of the other forums that are mostly sim-based and try to tear y'all's community down. If anything, I'm one of the few people who have actually fought for more realistic outcomes on certain things.
Okay.
I'm one of the few people who have communicated that a cover 2 shell, if there's no outside threat, the safeties need to be pinching down. You talk to us, and when you talk, whether it's on Twitter or not, your tone comes off as extremely condescending. And when we have a conversation with you, matter of fact, it was maybe 2 episodes ago that I did with you. When I started to make a point that you didn't like, you started playing with your camera and then turned your camera off and left the show for about 15 minutes, bro.
Because I got a wife and daughter. That had nothing to do with you.
No, I'm talking about the perception that you give off at times.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm a family man, dude.
I'm not just talking about that situation, though. I got 3 kids too. I understand.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about,
but that had nothing to do with that. I just want to make that clear.
I'm just talking about what that looked like, given what you have said over years of time, years of track record. Like, bro, I literally have a notebook sitting next to me with 8 pages of notes of you saying real football and being 100% wrong about the concept. But you have the nerve to criticize what we're doing. That's not cool, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's not cool. Like CFM, he's asking y'all speeches for CFM, and I'm sitting here trying to think of things to help y'all, even while I'm having this disagreement with you.
Okay. That's cool.
That's all I'm getting at.
If the game, okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Continue.
It's just more about a certain ratings thresholds we were told, bro. When you play salary cap or anything like that, okay, you got a 95 overall quarterback overthrowing 3-yard drags by like 15 yards, bro.
Okay. And I told that, and I told. Okay, so those videos, make them towards Rex and RG.
It's already been done. And the reason that happened was a buildup of all of that. And you sitting here saying fishbowl, fishbowl, fishbowl for 3 years straight. Then you get fishbowl, and neither side is happy with their fishbowl, and you jump out of your fishbowl into the other one.
I didn't jump out of anything. I didn't jump out of anything. Who broadcasts the game? Tell me that. Tell me that. Who broadcasts the game? I'm asking questions. Yeah, you wanna? Let me tell you where the questions come from. Who broadcasts the game? EA did. That means that anybody publicly can view it. If you got a problem, then I would strongly recommend that you privatize it so nobody can see it except certain folk. So if you broadcast something publicly, that means that it is open for any kind of criticism that it wants. If you don't like it, that's tough. I'm sorry that my man's that I should feel empathy for somebody. I should feel empathy for somebody that overthrew a pass. Should I feel empathy for Dubby because he got intercepted by Sheldon Richardson, a defensive end? This dude covered as if he was Richard Sherman out there.
Because he was brought by a user, because he was brought into the game as a left outside linebacker.
Dude, my point, dude.
As an outside linebacker. That shouldn't have happened either.
Bruh, but so then therefore when I see things like that happen, I'm like, yo, that's not a good look. Does that mean that the tournament sucks? Does that mean that the whole tournament sucked because of that?
For the one defensive play, no.
Okay. So therefore, if I have something to say about what it is that I see on screen, and plus on top of that, you got people in your own crowd to police. Why y'all trying to police me? Yeah, there's a lot of people. Not enough, obviously, because there's a lot of conversation going on.
Hold on, we can stop that right there. We can stop that right there. Chat, Darrell Kirkpatrick, you've seen me. Have you not seen me going at other competitive players, telling them to chill out? Have you not seen me going at YouTubers and MUT players, telling them to chill out? Everybody in the chat that see me on Twitter doing that, please go ahead and comment. Thank you.
Go ahead and comment. Please go ahead and comment.
But you have people in your community. I didn't say really. I didn't say line, bro.
I didn't say Madden Universe ain't do jack. I didn't say that. So by all means, you could validate that all you want. I didn't say you got to validate the work you did. I'm saying that there's a good number of people out there that's still doing that. So therefore, go ahead and do that. I'm not worried about worry about them. Y'all worried about me. Y'all worried about me having to say something.
You was worried about us for 5 years, bruh.
Well, yeah, because the game would get nerfed because of y'all. That's why.
All right, man. Let me step in one more time. Here's the thing.
Hold on. No. Sim, no, he got to talk all that time.
No. I'm gonna let you come in. Now
let me go ahead and talk. Now,
hold on, Smitty. Because this is the thing. Because even the chat, there's people saying this is a waste of time. So let me just say this before y'all continue. Don't turn this into an argument. We gotta just talk to each other as individuals. And also, the thing about it is, here's the real problem with this whole thing. The game itself is segmented. And unfortunately, this is what it's created. It's going to have these two different crowds feeling a certain way. Were you wrong to say anything about how the game played? No. But competitive guys wrong for saying, hey, why are you concerned? No. And I don't think nobody's going to agree. And just to answer this question real quick before we throw it back to you guys, the reason why this is happening tonight, guys, because this stuff needs to happen. It needs to be conversation between communities so we can become one Madden community. If we don't talk, even if it seems like they're arguing, if they don't talk and get it out, ain't nobody going to leave this show hating each other. But you got to talk and get it out. All I ask from you guys, man, is just, bring it down a little bit and just talk. Don't get offensive. Don't get defensive. Just give your point and don't try to attack each other. Just let's try to work out the problem now. Do it that way. But go ahead, Smitty.
All right. Please, okay, let me speak without being muted, and then I could get the point out. I can't get the point out if I'm being muted.
Somebody got to tell y'all to stop. Somebody got to tell y'all to chill, though.
But I'm not mad.
No, Smitty. What I'm saying is I'm not going to let y'all just keep yeah. So I got to mute you if y'all can't do it yourselves. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Trust and believe. Oh, I would sound completely different if that was the case. I'm not doing that at all. All I'm saying is that from what I've seen, look, see, the thing is, let me add context to it. Do I play in Madden tournaments currently? No. Back on PS2, did I play in Madden tournaments? Yes. Did I see a lot of cheesy stuff going on in those tournaments? Heck yeah. Back on PS2 Maddens, people would take Michael Vick purposely and run all the way downfield and turn it all the way upfield and run it in for 6. I've seen that many times over. And dudes thought that was sweet. Dog, I've seen a lot of foolery happen in the game over the years. And I purposely, for the past few years, I've been following tournament guys on purpose because I didn't have a full understanding of how that crowd is at this moment. So therefore, I need to see, why is it that these guys want the game to play a certain way? Let me do homework. See, Sim gives me credit saying I'm this historian and I pull up all this info. It's because I do research. I look into things. So that way I do have some kind of, at least on some level, I have an understanding of what's going on. See, I spoke to Zen and I told him, I'm not trying to change your mode. But the thing is, I don't like the game being deferred to that style post-launch. So yes, we needed the game to be segmented. But guess what? When that game is broadcast on television, it's not broadcasted in sim style. It's broadcasted in comp style, and that's fine. I don't care if it's comp. I don't care if they put it in arcade style. But the bottom line is that, at least my bottom line from what I've been seeing over the years, I've seen so many tournament-based gamers or guys that are at least in that crowd talk about how they want to be able to do everything regardless of their rating, regardless of how high or how low. And they want to say that, and hey, brother, you ain't got to agree with it, but that's your own crowd that's saying it. So, hey, that's on them. That's on those people at the end of the day. All I'm doing is looking. Trust and believe. I could go on Twitter and talk about a ton of stuff if I wanted to about that crowd, but I don't, because I wait to watch the tournaments, because that's what I look at. See, I'm a video game enthusiast. I watch tournaments of Madden. I watch tournaments of fighting games as well. And when I see the integrity of fighting games being upheld, I want to see Madden upheld to that exact same stature. The game is getting better, and I'm seeing the game get more and more and more built up in that light, but it's not there yet. And I want to see it better across the board. So that way, whether I'm playing sim, whether I'm watching competitive on screen, it's like, okay, he tried to cover with that deep. He tried to take Sheldon Richardson and legitimately play secondary defense. That dude should have got torched for that. Like, even if it, and that's got nothing to do with saying, oh man, that, you know what? They need to penalize man, the game needs to be sim because of that. No, I'm saying in comp, that needs to be over his head. He shouldn't be able to make a play on that unless it's like right in front of his face, because he's not known for making those kind of plays. So there, at the end of the day, like what you were saying yourself, Relli, you brought up all those football concepts. That's the exact point I'm talking about right there. Football, at the end of the day, has to be held with the utmost. Well, I won't say the utmost, because it, you know, the play style differs here. But I'm saying football still has to be tangibly upheld at the end of the day, regardless of what stage it's on. Because yes, to me, I enjoy watching the tournaments, even though there are some aggravating things that happen at times. And the thing is, really, I've sat up here on this panel and said, many a show's over. You got your notepad and everything. That's cool. I have no problem with being corrected. I've sat up here many a times and said, I never sat up here at any point in time and said I know everything. I have no problem with being corrected. I have no problem with being wrong and owning up to it. I have no problem with being informed, schooled, or educated. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm here to do. I want to learn more. I want to get better. So by all means, if you got information and insight, let me know something. I'll take zero offense to any of that, because I publicly have said that many a times over. So I never said at any point in time, I'm this czar that just knows everything when it comes to football, X's and O's, ins and outs, and all that stuff. But all I'm saying is, we all watch football on Sundays. We talk football with each other, friends, family, or whatever. I want to be able to correlate that to what I see when this game is shown on the grand stage. That's my whole point. And the thing is, it just so happens that it's your avenue that's getting that spotlight. So therefore, when I see it and it doesn't look good to me, I say something about it and say, man, that don't look right to me, man. I don't like the way that looks, and I have something to say about it. So yes, I have sim mode. I have my sim mode. But see, and this is the other perception, ever since they announced those modes and everything, y'all assume that I'm saying, when I make a point on Twitter, see, that's the thing that sucks about 140 characters. But when I make my point on Twitter, I'm not saying comp needs to be sim mode. So you guys will post that conclusion, and I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that sim needs to be comp. I'm not saying comp just needs to be sim all of a sudden. What I'm saying is that when I see certain things happen in the game on that mode, like when people post plays online, when tournaments happen, and I'm looking and it's like, I don't like the way that looked, and like, that ain't a good look. I don't like that. But then I see dudes online from that crowd that are talking like they want fighting game execution in Madden. They want to complete every pass. They want to make every pick. They want to catch every pass in traffic and all that, no matter what. Now, I'm not saying that's the whole crowd. I'm not saying that as, yo, that's how all of y'all talk. No, I'm not saying that's all of you guys. Not by any means. Because there are guys like Zan, guys like you, and there are others too that are about the comp. But at the same time, y'all about X's and O's still mattering in that facet. It still has to matter. Because, excuse me, like you named out before, they put all these football concepts into the game. So therefore, it needs to matter. It can't be negated because somebody wants to be able to just execute just because, regardless of money being on the line. There has to, football still has to be it still has to be held tangible. And like I said, Madden over the years, especially on that bigger stage, it's been looking better. Like the more and more the work Rex and those guys put in, and also feedback coming from y'all, from what you guys say on that level, because they listen to what you guys are saying. And I'm not knocking any of it. Like on this show, you've heard me and Sim give tons of credit to the likes of Zan and others like him that are on that comp scene, but at the same time having immersive football IQ. So it's got nothing to do with saying that, it just needs to be like I'm with Sim on this point. If there was no mode setting, I would just want football. Just like how FIFA has it. FIFA, now, I mean, I'm a casual FIFA guy, but FIFA to me, player movement, ball physics, rules, all that stuff in effect, those cats play for all that bread. There is no setting. They just play. That's what I'm saying. I would, if it was just one way, yes, I would love it to be that way. But because different audiences want the game to play a certain way, they want more certifiable, guaranteed plays, don't really want much of a dice roll effect costing them certain things, I'm cool with that. But there still needs to be a level of, you may throw an inaccurate pass, you may drop a pick, you may not get that sack, you may not get this, because the football element. But like you said earlier, for example, the big time overthrows to the point where it's like you're aiming forward, but they throw it all the way to the left. They literally throw it to the DB. Stuff like that. That's extremely egregious. I don't agree with that. Now see, stuff like that, I'm not saying, hey, oh well, just take it and do better. No, I'm not. No, I'm saying like slightly inaccurate, slightly this. If you're under pressure, then I could see a pass going errant like that. Or if you get hit as you throw it, I could see that. Every time, every so often. But when you're in pocket, standing tall, nobody there, no pressure or whatever, I could see a slight inaccurate pass happening every so often, but not like all the time. It's just egregiously happening or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys have your mode, but I see it on the stage, and that's why I comment, because of that. It's not to knock you guys though. So
that's how it comes off though.
Hey, that's what I said. 140 characters doesn't work. And plus, when it was one way, when it was only one way, I'm gonna say that because it was only one way. The game was only one way. There was no segmentation.
But you've said in the past that once it goes into separate modes, if that were to ever happen, then you have no room to criticize us. I can pull up the episode number and the timestamp if you'd like.
Go ahead.
That's fine. I'll send it to you after this.
Cool.
But
I'm still sticking with what I'm saying, though. But that's cool.
Different than what you said in the past. That's my only point. What I'm saying, Sheldon Richardson making that interception, did you see any competitive players happy about that except Joke? Because he's the one that made the interception. Let's be real. Did you see anybody happy about it, or were they laughing that it even happened?
I mean, I didn't see anybody pleased with it.
Exactly. That's my point. But that was one of your points just now, is that like that shouldn't happen. We don't want, and the only reason he was using Sheldon Richardson is because he had clicked to change to a linebacker and got stuck on him at the snap. And he seen that post route and just ran. He didn't start the play as Sheldon Richardson. That wasn't who he was trying to use it. We're looking at it from two different lenses. Those 18 concepts that I named off aren't concepts that are defaultly built into Bunch. Those are the hot route concepts that were made by Skimbo. That was just Skimbo's. 18 different passing concepts that Skimbo ran out of one formation. That's all I'm saying. And then if you look at the way Tweez played, completely different style. Single back spread, a lot of under center, inside zone type runs, zone running scheme, a couple power runs. Then if you look at Chaos or one of them, the way everybody played wasn't exactly the same. Everybody's bunch, even though it was a bunch formation, wasn't all the same. Also, a lot of people have been talking about, there's not enough uniqueness as far as formations are concerned. Well, is that completely on the tournament player, or is part of that on the fact that some formations just do not work? And on defense, a lot of stuff has been taken out of the game. I understand why, but at the same time, if a lot of the things that in the past some players may use is completely gone, what do you expect them to do? You have to adapt to every year's game. These guys put in 12 to 14 hours a day. And what it comes off as is you are coming it comes off as you coming at us and downgrading the amount of work that goes into it. That's how it comes off. And even though that might not be your intention, with the amount of followers and the influence that you do have, it comes off like that to other people. That is the perception of it. I've had this conversation with several people this week to make sure it wasn't just me. A lot of people feel that way, that's how you came off. And I actually had to text Sim a couple of days ago. I wasn't even going to do this at a certain point because I thought I left a lot of stuff that I wanted to say out because I was speaking from emotion at that point. Because what a lot of people don't see, other than the tournament guys, is how many years it took to build this. And yes, EA may have put it in place and gave us the opportunity, but these guys have built this from the ground up, from the back of someone's garage, all the way up, grinding, losing money, putting tournaments together, flying out, paying $2,000 to fly somewhere for a chance at only winning $1,000 just because they seen the vision moving forward. And it feels like you are downgrading that work because of your personal belief in what you think. And I feel like when you brought up the conversation that there's problems in our community, you are 100% correct. And when I asked the chat to bring up if I've addressed those people, yes, I spoke to those people. And a lot of the issues that are going on within our community is within the younger crowd that don't understand the fact that we've blown this opportunity time and time before. I know the problems going on here. But at the same time, in your community, you have a lot of people who are on different pages. And at the end of the day, none of us are going to end up getting what we want unless we all start working together more. That's my point. My point was not to come on this show.
There it is, right there.
Speak to everybody in the sim community and tell everybody in the sim community they're wrong, because that's not my place. That's not my spot to do it. And even though I came on this show to have this debate with you and Rex was asking for CFM feedback, I'm thinking of stuff that can help y'all. And that's not even my lane. When I first hit up Sim to come on this show for the very first time, I'm going to ask Sim, Sim, what did I ask you?
Yeah, you wanted to, we both kind of agree, but you said it first. Let me come on and give it from my side of things so we can really see how much everybody is really alike in some regard.
Because eventually we need to bring the community together, correct? Because if we're sitting there fighting each other, like Rex said, me and you shouldn't have done that on Twitter. Me, you, and Zan shouldn't have done that on Twitter. That shouldn't have happened on Twitter. It shouldn't. So that's partially my fault. It's partially your fault. It's partially Zan's fault. All three of us have equal blame on that. Because all three of us have a certain number of followers. I mean, you can sit there and make that face like you're not at fault at all, but at some point you have to accept some type of responsibility, bro.
Yeah, I gave my opinion. That's me taking responsibility. I gave my opinion based off of an inaccurate throw. That's what I did.
How many times did you sit there and respond and have your own community sit there and say, I'm as sim as it gets, but you're wrong, Smitty. Stop. Other people were telling you were wrong. Your own followers, bro, were telling you to stop it. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Me going into your side of things and tearing that down would not help.
All right. I'll let you have that. Go ahead.
But like you sitting here getting
salty, you got it,
bro.
You got it. You got it. Go ahead.
But look, this.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
This is the reason, though.
I ain't gonna do that, man.
No, that's cool.
Man. You got it. Like,
here's the reason why. Because I see some.
We had that energy to EA place.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Hold on.
Let me have that energy. Dude, okay, never mind, dude. Forget
Come on, just
don't worry. Don't go there.
I'm saying what you said. Don't line up now.
Don't do that.
Don't go there. The latter part of you guys' conversation, in my opinion, was very productive. Let's leave it there. Just leave it where it was at. That last part of y'all's conversation.
Ask questions. When you want to have a discussion with somebody, actually ask questions first. That's the problem with all y'all cats.
Hold on.
Y'all didn't ask no questions. Y'all assume you know something. That's the problem with y'all cats.
Hold on. Hold on.
They want to jump on Zan's back off of him showing
no.
But why didn't you guys ask any questions?
I said something before Zan recorded that video number one.
Listen.
Sim.
No.
1 second. I'm gonna say this very calmly.
Get past all of that. Just get
all that's gone. All that's gone. What I'm saying though, Smitty, you literally brought the words competitive Madden should show real football into the conversation. While when I just named 18 real football concepts, when you speak about real football, you are wrong. No. They were hot routes that turned into that they made spacing, drive, Ohio, mesh, smash, flood, mills. This is just out a bunch. 18 different concepts.
None of that's football.
Real football.
None of it's football at all.
None of those are real football. I'm done.
None of it's football at all.
None of those plays are football concepts. I'm done. I've said my piece. Sim, if you want to go ahead and ask any questions, you're fine, because him saying those things are not real football is just mind-boggling.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you the question. None of those things are football, right? None of them are. Is that what you're alluding to, or what?
Yo, this ain't gonna go nowhere, bro.
Yeah, I'm asking questions. See, this is exactly
it's not going anywhere.
That's why dudes be online. That's why dudes be online on Twitter and be missing the point. See, they don't want to answer the questions when they're asked. But that's fine.
Here's the thing. Let's forget all of that, because I want to explain something, and it's going to take about 5 minutes.
That's what I'm saying, man.
People coming in the show late or what have you. You know, I see people saying why this happened, blah 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 blah. First of all, Rex segment was first. We were done with that. Rex is actually still in the chat. I keep telling y'all, send him your ideas based off of what he explained. Rex was done. We moved on. So don't keep saying, oh, I rather had, why did y'all, that was over. Rex wasn't staying here all night. Number two, the reason why these type of things need to happen is because Rex actually said himself, it's not good for the two communities to be going head to head. We need to try to be more along the same accord. Now, here's the problem. Everybody,
thank you, Kendall.
Well, not everybody, but a lot of people in both communities, they don't go to agreeing or trying to discuss first. It's usually, what do you mean? What do you mean? That's what actually happened with what you got. I didn't see the whole conversation, so I don't know how it started. But what I'm saying is, what in this conversation, that the last part, like last 10-15 minutes, is exactly where y'all need to be. Just talking. Like, I don't think Smitty, you shouldn't have any malice towards him. Relli shouldn't have any malice towards you.
I ain't got no malice, dude.
No, but what I'm saying, Smitty, is you have to, even me, this is how I am. You got to be able to see when you have a debate or discussion with somebody, you have to be able to see the issues that they possess, issues you possess, where they were wrong, where you were wrong. And like I said, from afar, that's another reason why I wanted to have it tonight, so everybody can see we got to come together at some point, get it out. But from afar,
it's not all out, but
I would say, basically, from what I'm hearing from both of you, it would come off like the Sim crowd is criticizing how those guys played. But you said, no, I didn't mean it that way. Then Relli said, oh, okay, well, that's how it came off. That's where it should end right there. Like, we should be able to get to a point where, oh no, I didn't mean it that way. But this is how I meant it, and then have a conversation. Like, we shouldn't be, none of us. I ain't talking about you two guys. I'm talking about anybody. It shouldn't be all of this bickering and beefing. Just talk it out.
It's no beef though. That's the thing. See, that's the whole thing. I'm not mad. If people look, if you know, since Relli went around the horn with some guys, they all had things to say. That's the issue right there. Why are they talking to you? If they have an issue with what it is I'm saying, then they need to be talking to me. Since they had an issue, because that's the thing. You can't
no. Be fair before you go crazy on that.
I'm not going crazy on like
I showed the tweets to other people and asked them their perception of how that would come off. It's not even people that know you or that would talk to you. I just asked them how it would come off to them and if I was tripping. That's all that was. So there's no point in involving anybody else in it. You understand what I'm saying?
There's no point in it. Okay. All right.
No, I'm just saying I reached out to other people. See, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you being condescending again, bro. Right now.
You brought people in it, but then you're saying don't bring people in it.
No, that's not what I said. Sim, can you explain to him what I just said, bro?
That's what you said.
I missed what y'all just said, to be honest.
Okay, this is exactly what I said. Smitty was saying how Relli had around the horn with everybody, this, that, and the third. I told him I showed the tweets to a few competitive players.
Oh, okay.
Asked them how it comes off to them, or if I was tripping. They told me that they felt like he was attacking our crowd as well. And now he's saying, well, I don't know why all these other people, this, that, and the third. I'm saying you don't have to get them involved, because all I did was ask them a simple question, a yes and no question. It wasn't a discussion on, do you like Smitty? Do you hate Smitty? This, that, and the third. It was just a question on, how does this tweet read to you? How does this line of tweets read to you? Yes, Smitty, like, this is what I'm saying, though, but you coming off so condescending right now, even. You feel me?
Because I hate when people don't ask questions and actually get clarity on something before just assuming things. And that's what keeps happening here. So that's why I'm like, you got it, forget it, don't worry about it. As annoying as that is, I'll go ahead and just let it go, because obviously folk ain't gonna get no context of anything. They're just gonna go with what they want to go with, and that's fine. Do that. Don't worry about it. Just
you might want to go read your responses again, bro, and read what Zan asked you.
Okay, man. All right. I know what I said. Never mind.
I know what you said too.
Yeah, I know what I said too, because I posted it publicly. So I know what I said. So
yeah, I know.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Like,
here's a question: Should inaccurate passes be in competitive? Yes or no?
Apparently not at all.
No. That ain't what I asked. That's not what I asked. I'm asking
if you have an elite quarterback, feet set in the pocket, open receiver, no. If you have a 60 overall quarterback, yes. We were told a certain threshold. It didn't meet that threshold. Y'all were told certain things would happen in Sim. That's not happening in Sim. Both sides are upset right now. That's the end of the line point. If everybody in the community doesn't start to get an understanding of each other, it's just going to get worse.
Hey, Sim.
Yeah.
Remember when Andrew Wilson did his speech about Ignite and everything on that stage? And we referenced that. Remember all the blogs we talked about and did videos on and all that stuff, and we referenced on the show? This is no different. All I'm literally doing is what I did in response was bring up the article, because that's what I was referring to. That's literally all it was. But it turned automatically. It turned into, well, let me tell you the whole history of my tournament experience. And I'm like, dude, it has nothing to do with what you've done personally. It's literally what the article is. And I'm not saying what you just said really earlier on. I'm saying from what Zan was saying. I'm like, dude, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with what it says verbatim in description.
So how about this? That specific situation that happened, the one that you all commented on, was that quarterback, was he supposed to meet the threshold and it didn't? Or like, what was the situation with that play that everybody reacted to?
Really, honestly, the worst of the two things that happened on that play was Cost acting like an idiot or chaos.
Gotcha.
Which he already apologized about. There was more the broader picture of the fact of Smitty with the fishbowl thing for all these years. And then some of us were already having a conversation, him going into saying this right there and doing all this. Every quarterback overthrows people in this game repeatedly. Right. There is no threshold that's being met right now.
So that's the real issue. Okay.
There is no threshold that's being met. If I play salary cap on MUT, for example, and I have the highest passer rating players in the game, say like Power Up Carr, or who's like a 92 overall, powered up Aaron Rodgers, I'm still getting the same 15-yard overthrows on a drag route with a clean pocket and no one around me. That's what it comes down to. And what you're commenting on at the end of the day, to the general public, as you said, you put it on Twitter, general public. You have a certain amount of followers. I have a certain amount of followers. Zan has this is where I said all of us are accountable. When I left the conversation, you continued to go, even after Rex jumped in. Correct?
No, and then
I ended up blocking you after that. Sim, you're the moderator, bro. You look right at it.
You're talking about on Twitter. I stopped.
Oh, on Twitter?
I had stopped. On Twitter, I stopped.
When me and Zan stopped,
about here. Yeah, I stopped.
Stop. Didn't Smitty go a little more?
No.
Wait, on Twitter? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't know about Twitter because I wasn't tagged in the convo, so I don't know where y'all like stopped and began on Twitter.
Yeah, I stopped as far as proving my point to y'all, but I replied to the people that probably follow you and had something to say to me. I replied to them and I said, read this, because they said I was tripping. I was like, okay, well then just read this article real quick.
When you do that with that article though, that comes off like you don't know the other things that were said, bro.
So then
like
therefore all you gotta do, just for future reference, all you got to do, instead of just this is what I'm saying. This is why you got to have dialogue with people to understand stuff, because you could have easily brought up, well, we have ridiculous amounts of overthrows, even like the example you just gave. You could have brought that up, and then I've been like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, I see what you're saying. I was like, so because see, I brought up the first response I made was you, and I said, is his rating 99 or 100? I was like, if it's 99 or 100 across the board. So then I didn't get a response back as far as that from you. So therefore, that was left unanswered. Because I said, if he has that kind of accuracy, then that makes sense.
You knew the answer.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know the answer. No, I didn't.
Nobody has a 99 rating, bro.
No one has 99 at all? Okay.
Okay, but that same article you tweeted me, competitive is all about head-to-head competition and tournament play. This is where user stick skills are king, and certain outcomes will be weighted heavily based on game situations and rating thresholds. Rating thresholds. Correct?
Okay.
Okay. You screen started that small piece of the article without the context of the ratings threshold part, just in order to win an argument.
It wasn't in order to win an argument. It was to bring up where I was coming from. See, that's the whole point of me posting that. That was literally it. And I said that in that video response I posted on Twitter as well. I said, this is exactly where I'm coming from, my point. It had nothing to do with backstories and histories and empathy and how much money somebody's supposed to get paid. It had nothing to do with any of that. I was literally just making that point. That's all I was saying.
You have to understand, with a history of doing a certain thing comes a perception at that time. Yes, it does. That's reality. That is reality. If you have a certain history and then you do something that reflects the same way as that old history does, that perception is going to be there.
So and therefore, don't ask questions, just go with your assumptions. Okay. Because that's what you did. But that's why I said don't do that. Ask questions. I'll ask questions no matter what.
You're not getting the point of what I'm saying about you having a certain amount of following, bro. Your words have influence on a certain amount of people. See, you so condescending. You roll your eyes. You do this, that, and the third.
Because you're not listening.
Like, bro, like, why can't we just talk?
I'm listening to you. That's the point. I'm listening to what you're saying, man. I'm listening to you.
But you're not hearing. It's two different things.
I'm doing both, dude. But...
Yo, why are you so salty? You so damn emotional, bro.
Man, listen, we got to wrap this show up, man. Basically, and again, I'm gonna just say how the standpoint of how I saw it, and I think what Relli said a little while ago, I think everybody should be able to agree.
Mind you, somebody here had to give a backdrop in the whole story about playing in the basement and all that stuff, but I got the emotions.
I'm talking about where tournaments came from, bro.
Okay.
But I'm talking about
But I think the realest thing that Relli said that I have to agree with, everybody has to take accountability for how that conversation blew up. You have to. I wasn't a part of it, but just hearing both sides, I think, like you said, yourself, Zan, and Smitty should all take accountability for whatever somebody did or didn't do. Because at the end of the day, it's both assumptions. Like how you said, Smitty, that they should ask questions. Where he's saying the same thing, where you should have did this. So it's kind of like you should have did this, you should have did that. I think it's healthy to have these conversations as long as we can have active conversations. But here's the real truth about the whole thing. This is why I don't comment on competitive stuff. It's because of the segment. It's because of the segment. I knew this was going to happen when I first learned about the game being segmented, and then it sounded cool at first. But then as I learned about what it was about, I was like, ooh, I don't know how that's going to go over, because this is what's going to happen. People are going to watch the tournament, myself included. And when you see stuff that's not real football, automatically you're going to be like, like, why is he mad? Everybody overthrows the football. True. But if the game is built to where the competitive setting is not supposed to have these things happen at a certain threshold, I got to respect that. I can say, I don't like that. That's not real football. But on the same hand, I got to respect that's what it is.
You can't say that, Sim.
Why not, Smitty? If the game is built that way, listen, hold on. But before we even go that far, because I got to get out of here, I want a realistic football game with fumbles, botch snaps, inaccurate passes, etc., etc. If the game is not built that way, and there's a segment that says in competitive, we're going to allow more things to happen that's not quote unquote realistic. If you have the clean pocket, you have 90 plus rating, whatever it is, that's the threshold, it's going to be accurate. That's how it's built. So I'm not going to go and, watch it and say, oh, why it should be, inaccurates happen. If that's how that setting is built, they've told me, EA and the dev team, this is what you're going to see on this setting. That's the point I'm making. It ain't about, and looking at it from afar, it's not about the football thing. We all know, even Relli, we all know that football is the integrity of football should be the number one thing. But this game has segments. That's all I'm saying. So if I know there's a segment that's not going to give me the most authentic thing in my mind, I can't beef with it because I already know why that's happening. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we shouldn't. Sheldon Richardson shouldn't be able to run down the field and get an. But
I don't even want that.
That's what I'm saying, Smitty. I think, and it ain't just you, Smitty. I'm just saying in general, when you watch the chats and stuff like that, when us sim guys have to, we can't attack the competitive guys. And I'm not saying you did that.
It's okay.
It's
not an attack, but
I just said you didn't do that.
Yeah, I know.
What I'm saying is the beef or the unhappiness should be towards the way the game was developed. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's not. I don't consider none of this beef.
Right. Well, you know what I'm saying. That's just a lingo. But the disappointment or the lashing out should be at the way the game is developed. Because again, we, like Relli said, we all want real football. But if, again, I might not like it, but if it says in this thing, listen, man, whenever you got a quarterback that has this and has that, he ain't gonna miss no throw. I could be pissed about it, but I gotta say, well, that's how they built it. So it's really not, it's not a point for me to say, well, you should just accept that overthrow. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not, excusing Chaos, so however you pronounce his name, for acting like he shouldn't have acted crazy like that on TV anyway.
And he would immediately.
What I'm saying is, if, let's say I don't know if he was, let's say if he was in a situation where he has this quarterback and receiver, etc., that meets this threshold that he was told should work, I could understand him being upset. That's all I'm saying. Not just the football part. I'm talking about the video game part. Because they've told me this is how they built the game. That's all I'm saying. I mean, nobody should even have to question what I would prefer to see. I'm the guy that would prefer to see the Tony Romo in Seattle incident. But I know I'm in a very small minority of people who would be cool with that if that happened organically in a game with money on the line. But it's because the game is random and these guys are playing for money. Until they get the game to a point where you can eliminate some of that randomness, they have these segments. And I got to be like, well, that's how they play. I don't play there. So I really can't say nothing if they're telling me that's how it's built. That's just how I see it. So that's why I'm saying, man, it don't need to be. And I agree with Smitty. We should ask more questions, because I can tell you, I really don't believe Smitty meant any malice towards it. I think Smitty really was just saying that ain't football, or, well, it happens in football. You know what I'm saying? Like, overthrows happen.
That may be, but what I was trying to explain to Smitty is over past things that he has said, leading into the different fishbowl, and criticizing tournaments, which you have done in the past, Smitty.
Yep.
The perception is going to be, because of what your history shows, that you are criticizing that group of people. That's just the case, bro.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Here's what you're missing, though. You have a certain amount of followers. I have a certain amount of followers. Sim has a certain amount of followers. Every time you say something, you have an influence on a certain amount of people, bro. And the reason I brought up the whole basement thing and this, that, and the third is because it's been built over 15 years for it to get to this point. And players are going to get emotional during the game when it comes down to something that they thought wouldn't happen. That's all it comes down to. Until you've walked in another person's shoes, you can't really say how they should feel when that situation arises, bro. Like, I can't sit there and tell you how to feel about how your CFM plays or how your sliders work. But what I can do is say, from a football aspect, you're right. That shouldn't have happened. Let me also send this to the devs and try to help y'all, which is something that I have done multiple times. That's all I'm saying. From you, all we feel like we're just being attacked when it comes to you on a consistent basis. And that feeds into the chat being more toxic, because I see people from this chat that will be in that chat repeating the same things that you say. And at the end of the day, that does not help us at all. It hurts us. And we don't go out of our way to try to intentionally hurt y'all. But that's all I'm saying, B. I mean, you got it. Whatever. If y'all want to do another topic, that's fine. If not, that's for the night. That's cool. If you got something else to say about Smitty, y'all listen. Same thing. But like, it's just wild, bro. It's just, you got what you asked for, and now both sides ain't happy, and you're gonna sit there and criticize us. That doesn't make sense to me.
Now, that's all the topics I got, man. Smitty, do you have anything? I don't know if this we'll let the public decide. I don't know if y'all want to continue this later, or I just think I think what it was about was just allowing Smitty and Relli to get out their thoughts. We should be able to do that as adults, even if we don't agree. And that's it. So some of you got, I got to say this real quick, Smitty, before you go. I'm always going to keep it real. Some of y'all in the comments like crack me up. Like, oh, this is the way. That's really the problem. This should happen more often. Because even though Smitty doesn't necessarily agree with everything Relli said and vice versa with Relli, I'm pretty sure after the fact, there's going to be some things that they'll be like, okay, I see where he's coming from. I see and this is going to be fine going forward. I can almost promise you there's not going to be like, oh, I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to deal with him. This needs to happen more. It's almost like this the kind of stuff that happens like, well, I don't want to like it to that, but really probably know where I was going. But this is the kind of stuff that happens in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we got to have a conversation. Have a conversation, mull it over. We good now. And I think that's why this was important tonight. So for everybody saying we shouldn't have did it, you part of the problem. Because I see too many of y'all in them Madden chats, I'm going to be real, trying to bash everything that's going on during the tournament. I'm like, dog, why are you worrying about that? I'm not talking about Smitty, because I know what Smitty's angle was. But if people, like Relli said, took it another way, that's different. A conversation fixes that. But what I'm saying is I see a lot of y'all in there criticizing how these dudes are playing. Just playing. They ain't even got about the game. How they playing? And I'm like, this man about to win 50 grand. Let that dude play how he wants to. That's not my business. My business is, I want to get the most realistic football game, but I'm not in the business of criticizing what these dudes are doing. I'm not in that space. So I need some of y'all to chill on that. But I think this, in my opinion, was productive. Whether right now they both probably feel like neither one of them was listening to each other. I'm telling you, I'm seeing how it's going to play out. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But I think it's important to have these conversations. What you got, Smitty, before we wrap it up here?
No. Like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine out of the way. I mean, I'm not, like I said again, when questions aren't asked, that's where clarity, there will never be clarity. History, I don't go by just sole history alone, because I've had conversations where I made the presumption based off of assuming off of their past, and that wasn't the facts. That wasn't the actual fact of the matter. So therefore, when I speak, I like to ask questions, or if I need to find out, I need to ask questions, because I need to see what your perception is, because your perception 2 years ago, 2 months ago, 2 days ago, 2 minutes ago can change over that period of time. So I got to ask questions. It doesn't matter if the statement is the same that you see or whatever, but I need to know what it is that you're getting at. And that's why when I seen, a lot of people co-signing on certain points and stuff, but they had no context. And I'm like, okay, you could blindly agree with whatever you want, but it's like, you don't know, you have no real context from what's being said. It's just you just see what's articulated nice online, and you cling to that and say, oh yeah, I agree with that. But you have no clue as to what I'm getting at. So it's like, okay, well,
I have
that's
5
fine.
years of context to go on though.
Like I just said again, what I just said a moment ago.
But
what happens from here to there to there to there can change. I'm not saying the exact same thing, because once again, those points I made were based off of the game being one way throughout. So yes, I said things the way that I said things because of that. And that's why I thought of saying, you know what? The game needed to be segmented. It needs to be, because at the end of the day, there is not going to be real pleasing between one crowd and another crowd without that happening, because the game is just not going to play right.
You just
and please everybody. So, okay. So even with that being said, but see, this is the point. When that game is televised, how's it being shown? one way. If I choose to comment on it, I can do that.
Who built it up to that point, though?
It doesn't matter who built it. It's the way it's being played. If I have a comment on it, I don't care if it started in somebody's basement. I don't care if it started on somebody's street corner and they just plugged it into the electricity pole and started playing Madden. It doesn't matter where it started at and where it's. I'm talking about when I watch on Twitch and YouTube the game I see on screen versus other games that are esports. Those are the esports. It looks better. So therefore, I want to see Madden. I want to see Madden look just as good, if not better, in that same light. I'm not saying it's got to be 100% simulation. I'm not saying that. That's my whole point.
Why do you always go to FIFA though, when FIFA is even more unrealistic if you talk to any of them that play FIFA?
Actually, FIFA's got better player movement than Madden does. Better ball physics than Madden does.
That doesn't come down to play realism. You're talking about play calling and stuff like that.
Okay.
You are. That's
all
two
right.
different
So
things.
it doesn't have anything to do. Okay. All right. Got you.
You're talking about two different things.
Got you. That's fine. I'll just end it there. That's fine.
Yeah, man. We can end it here for now.
Yeah.
I think that just my last point before we go. Again, I think Smitty's point is accurate. Relli's point is accurate. The problem is the game. That's what I was saying from the beginning. Smitty makes a very good point about he wants to see the game being played. Right. But what I'm saying is I'm just not in the business at this point where I'm criticizing those who are playing the game. That's a game problem. That's whoever, like I think what Relli was saying was the game. That's how the game is built up. I mean, I can't be mad at W or any of these dudes for doing what they do. The game. Listen, I say this story all the time. When I very first met Gibbs and Falls, first met them like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Falls told me verbatim, Sim, the game shouldn't allow me to do that. That's why I do it. I couldn't argue that. I could not argue that. That he knows football, but he said, listen, this is how I play. The game shouldn't allow me to do that. And that's my point. I'm not saying that as sim gamers, we shouldn't say anything. We shouldn't give our opinion. I think what Relli is saying by that is it would have appeared at least that all of us, Relli and some other guys, Zan, Smitty, we are on a level where we could talk. So the conversation could have been, and that's how I see it from afar too. That conversation could have gone way better.
No, I agree with you, and that's what I was trying to say just now. Is we all hold responsibility in that what happened because we all have a certain following.
Right. I agree with that.
At the end of the day, it's all of our faults, but at the same time, you have a certain following, and when that following sees you say something, and then they go into the chat of that tournament and repeat what you just said on Twitter, that's not a good look for us because perception is reality on social media. Yeah, very true. And that's so when you have a history of criticizing a certain group of people, and then you turn around and say something that can come off as criticizing towards that same group of people, that's how it's going to be. And just like even right now, I feel like he's just being dismissive of everything I have to say. Rolling his eyes, getting mad, like, this, that, and the third. Yes, I'm emotional about the fact that so many years have been put into building up to get to this spot. That's why I got on the competitive players that went up there and acted crazy. And it's younger guys who have not had that experience. You don't see that from Problem. The day two, when you seen Skimbo and all them playing, even after Joke made a mistake the first day where he said something, it wasn't very loud. Now, there are problems with competitive. They shouldn't be on live mics the entire time.
Yeah. That was a bad idea.
No other esport does that. They do listen-ins. Because even if you don't get them saying the game is bad, they're going to be saying fuck you to the next person. Or capping. Like, that's just the way it is. I feel like And Brandon, I'll help you out right now. The threshold for zone coverage is 90 to get the elite reactions, but it starts at 80. It's the average of play rec and zone coverage together. That's a common misconception, but I don't get into that argument. But that's the answer. I'm just saying that I just want everybody to be on the same page at the end of the day. And I thought we were getting to that point when we got these separate play styles, especially when, I mean, you guys had a big part in it, which is a good thing. They aren't playing out completely correctly right now. We know that. A lot of things that are happening on Sim as far as the randomness have bled into competitive. Some of the things in competitive have bled into in the Sim. There's issues on both sides of that. Nobody's 100% happy with the game. And like the other thing I don't like is from both sides, competitive and Sim players. Why are you on Twitter like cussing out the devs like that's gonna help you get your point across? That ain't gonna help either.
It's so dumb.
Like, and so that's the thing. So like when Smitty made the point, I don't know where he went. He might have had to, deal with whatever he has to deal with right now. It's just he comes off very dismissive towards us, and this was never with the intent of attacking the Sim community, because there are things that y'all have legitimate gripes about. Legitimate. But at the same time, there are legitimate problems that we have too. And the good thing about that is that I've seen the devs talk. I've been in Rex's Twitch streams. By the way, guys, it usually on weekends in the mornings, go in the Rex stream on Twitch. He'll tell you some things that's going on.
Oh, yeah. I tell him that all the time.
There's certain things I may not get as mad about. But at the same time, it's like, if you're told one thing, don't, and then when something else happens, that's what we're upset about as a competitive community, which is the same thing that some of the CFM and Sim community are feeling as well. And at the end of the day, all this infighting, whether it be within competitive versus competitive players and their disagreements, cussing each other out, Sim players cussing each other out, comp and Sim players cussing each other out, none of that is a good look. And with people with followings, we can't do that. We can't do that because we're just making it worse. That's my point. And look, see, like you doing it again. Like, just look at your own facial expressions. Put a mirror in front of your face, bro.
Yeah, you want to know why I'm doing that? Because I'm looking on Twitter right now, and I'm looking at the Red Wings score, and they lost 2-3 to the Lightning. That's why I made that facial expression. Ask questions. Stop assuming. Please. For the sake of reality of having a discussion with somebody, please ask a question. You're not in front of me. So ask, you got to know what I'm talking about first, man. I'm not mad at you. What I'm saying
though is when I was in front of you, when I was in front of you at EA, you agreed with all the points that you're disagreeing with now.
All right, I've spoke on it. I spoke on it already, man. And I was listening to you saying what you were saying. You were golden with what you were saying. I wasn't even, my facial expression had nothing to do with you. Minding my own, I'm minding my own business, listening. So go ahead, man. I ain't got nothing on you. Go ahead. You good.
It ain't even about that, bro.
Man, this is a good place to end the show, man. I got to run.
It ain't even about that.
That's it. Can't wait to see some of you guys' comments. Again, stuff like this needs to happen. Not everybody is mature enough to have these conversations, because you better believe in both communities there's going to be people who have this conversation and then they really at each other's throats and F this, F that. But these type of things need to happen so we can get on the same accord. And in case some of you guys was wondering, I told Smitty this too offline. This is the reason why I really don't say much during the tournaments and all that, because I already know that perception can be perceived anyway. Like texting, you ever have an argument with your girl on text? Not even an argument, just you respond a certain way and you mean it a certain way, but then she like, hold on, what you trying to? It doesn't come off right, and that's why I just don't. I just be like, that's their thing. I talk to the devs. That's just my choice. I'm not saying Smitty is right or wrong. I'm not saying Relli is right or wrong. But that's why I have stopped. I don't comment. I just be like, oh, all right, well, why they doing that? Hey, look, Rex, this is what we need over in Sim, da-da-da-da-da. But still, another reason why I watch the tourney is because I do want to see what type of things are important to them, what type of things work that we all like, what type of things that is broken. Because there's going to be guys who are going to cheese. We know that. But not everybody. I keep telling y'all, Problem is a good dude, man. Skimbo is a good dude. Like, I've had real conversations with these guys. Sometimes it's the hand that they're dealt. That's what the game is. So they do certain things to, you know, as a man, I can't be mad at that. But my beef is the game. It's always going to be the game. I'm not worrying about what somebody else is doing as far as how they playing. My thing will always be the game. Rex will tell you he's in here still listening. As stuff was going on, I was like, Rex, we got to fix, like, and that's just the way I choose to do it. And like I said, you know, it's not telling either one of you how to do it. But I bet you if I would have said something, I'm sure people would have had the same thing. Like, hold on, what you trying to say? They would have read it wrong. If I'd have been like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. That's why with these two communities, man, it's always going to be people that's never going to agree. Go look at them chats. You see people in there saying, Sim guys need to go somewhere. Like, it's never going to. But like Relli said, I think us who have voices and are more vocal, we got to find ways to be more bonded. And like I said, you know, this is not like Smitty and Relli ain't going to talk no more, but I'm saying you got to have these conversations, man. You got to have tough conversations to move forward. So that's all. But we're going to go ahead and end this show, man. I got to go. Got to go tend to the family. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a quite big audience here tonight. So contrary to what some people were saying, I think it actually started spiking when the second half happened. So again, if y'all want to control the narrative, give us the topics. A whole lot of you guys sometimes that complain about the show, I don't never get a topic from y'all. I keep extending the invitation. Give us a topic. You come on, be a panelist, or just give us a topic. So there you have it. I think this was productive because now at least, even if, you know, we hang up and Smitty like forget Relli like forget Smitty, I still feel like it was productive. Because it's gonna move past this. At least they know where each other is coming from. So there you have it. Catch you guys next week. If you're a Dolphin fan, I feel sorry for you tonight. And if you're a Detroit fan, I can't give you no luck tonight, Smitty. Hope y'all play bad on Sunday. But any other team, hey, more power to your team. Hope they win. And we'll be back next week with some more interesting topics. So salutes to Relli, salute to Smitty. Appreciate both of you guys. And we out of here.
All right. Peace.